One God, one music, one mission to bring right inspiration to everyone. This is BRITE Radio, playing all your favorite contemporary Christian and gospel music together, broadcasting worldwide from Washington, D.C. on BRITEradio.org. Go mobile by downloading the app on Google Play and the App Store. This is BRITE Radio.
Marty and Katina Show.
No, the Katina and Marty Show.
Why?
Because ladies first.
I guess so. But
what do you guess? That I'm a lady or that ladies should go first?
I know you're a lady. We've been married for 16 plus years. So you're right. Ladies first. The Katina and Marty Show.
Sounds good.
I'm glad you like it.
Hi, this is Marty from the Marty and Katina Show, and I'm here with Annette Duncan, who is a star in the movie Dolphin Island, which is coming out streaming, which is coming out in March, which is March now. I think, quote me if I'm wrong, March 6th. Is that correct?
Actually, in the United States, it's March 2nd, so it's today. Woo-hoo.
Oh, it's today. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so March 2nd. And Dolphin Island. Talk to us about the movie. Obviously, don't give me a spoiler, but talk to me about the movie and how you joined the movie.
I would love to do that, Marty. The movie itself is just an absolutely heartwarming and wonderful family feature film. Who doesn't love dolphins, right? I mean, those of us who, when we were younger, either, saw reruns or whatever of Flipper and read Island of the Blue Dolphins and that sort of thing, fell in love at a distance with dolphins. And in this movie, there's a young girl who is, she's been raised from birth, basically, in an island or on an island in the Bahamas. And her best friend sort of is Mitzi the dolphin. And so Annabelle, the girl, has grown up and lived with her paternal grandfather on a houseboat in a really warm community there in the Bahamas. Her parents had been killed when she was younger. This is all previous to the start of the movie. So no spoilers, Marty. But her parents had been killed and in a boating accident. And so she's being raised, and her maternal grandparents, who are very wealthy and live in New York, decide it's been, a lot of years. It's been 10 years. And it's time, as she enters her teen years, to bring her to New York for the best education, the best of everything that they can give her. And they mean well, but as you can imagine, that's very disruptive and perhaps misguided to just come in and say, okay, now you're leaving your home and your friends and your family and moving with us to New York. So that sort of provides the tension of the movie. What ultimately happens is everyone in the movie learns things and grows and changes the same way that we all do in families, And so it's beautiful scenery, heartwarming, and just a fun film that everybody in the family, I really believe, will enjoy. It's not just one of those movies that, I hate to say it, but you watch with your kids because you know it's safe, but you're kind of like looking at your watch, when will this be over? I think this is a movie that everybody will be drawn into and really love. You want me to keep talking? Talk about my how I got involved?
It's sure. I mean, that's the best interview is when I ask one question and you just keep talking. No, it's fine. Whatever. No. But I do want to say you're exactly right, because I got to watch it this weekend with my dad, my children, my wife, and we all highly enjoyed it. So you're exactly right that this is one of those that, like you said, I didn't look at my watch. You're exactly right. I've got some follow-up questions about that. But how did you get involved with this film? Because clearly, what drew you to this film?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest. It was a rather ignoble beginning, in a sense, because I was just going through the breakdowns on Actors Access, where, if people don't know what that is, it's a site where people who are creating films, commercials, things like that, advertise openings, essentially. And I was going through those and applying to a few things, and I said to my son, who was in the kitchen at the time, oh, and here's something that's being filmed in the Bahamas. And we live in Wisconsin, and this was December or November at that point. And I laughed, and I said, what would you think if your mom went and did a film in the Bahamas? Ha ha. And he said, ha ha ha. You know, we both laughed uproariously. And the description of the film sounded really warm and heartfelt, which it's important to me to be involved in things that will pass on the legacy that I want to pass on. I sort of use the litmus test. Is this something I want my kids or grandkids watching in 10, 20 years, you know, because these don't go away. You do a film, you're in that film, you know. And so it sounded really wholesome. It sounded good. And so I went ahead and applied. And then not too long thereafter, received an audition, a callback request. And so I did that. And then what you got to do when you're in acting is you've got to do the audition with all of your heart, and then you just have to let it go. And so I did, and wasn't really thinking about it. And in very early January, I was teaching a night class because I'm also a professor of English. And I was teaching a night class. I had finished, and I was alone in my office. The hall was all dark. No one was around. And I got a message to call the producer ASAP. And I was like, oh, my gosh, what is this? So I called him. He offered me the role. I said very calmly, yeah, I can make that work. That sounds great. Thank you so much. And got off the phone and literally screamed. If anyone had been in the building, they would have come running. I was like, I'm going to the Bahamas. I was so excited. Then, and this is where it gets much better to me, because going to the Bahamas was fabulous, beautiful, wonderful. I can't describe it. But what was even more precious to me, because I'm a Christ follower, I'm a person of faith. However, you don't want to walk around, you know, clobbering everyone with, you know, I'm a Christian, you need to act this way and put this into your movie and that sort of thing. So the director called me, and he began talking and saying, as we're making adjustments to the script, what are some things that are important to you? What would you like to bring to your character, Cheryl Williams? And I said, well, this and that. And he said, okay, and are you this, are you that? He said, are you a person of faith? And I said, oh, yes, that is something I would love to bring to the role. And so Mike Disa, who's a fabulous director, he got very excited and began to write into and increase not only the presence of Cheryl, but the presence of her faith and the legacy of faith that she passes on, particularly to her granddaughter, Annabelle. So I was beyond delighted. And once I got there, it was such a both challenge and a joy to try to bring that faith into the character of Cheryl and convey it. So that's how I got involved, yeah.
And what the testimony piece about that is, where I've done enough interviews like this, is lots of times you just go on set and you don't have any say. And that is a God moment where obviously they've asked you to bring in some faith. And you're also right that the sense of, after seeing the film, it's not in your face, but it's clear, obviously now I know, great backstory after you watch it, that you were influential in adding those pieces of the hint of various faith-based Christian moments in the movie. So, wow, that's awesome.
You're right, Marty. It was completely, in my mind, a God moment. And, I mean, this whole thing was a God moment. Can I say that? Because I've done stage acting my whole life, but I just a little less than 2 years ago began submitting and taking film acting classes. And so to be able to be part of the ensemble cast, because that's what you call it when you have a number of people, not just one star and so forth, but you have a number of people who are kind of involved in carrying the story forward. To be able to be part of an ensemble cast in a feature film, that quickly, about a year into just my beginning to submit, what's that about? I really strongly believe that it's about the fact that God has opened the door, and He has so many people who are in the entertainment industry, and we may not be loud, but we're there, and we're that salt and light that is, I believe, helping to bring the message of faith and family and those kinds of things that our society really, really is hungry for right now. We're all a little lost, a little shaken, and to have that sort of message in a storytelling, narrative creating place like Hollywood, that's a God moment and very beautiful.
Oh, I agree 100%. And the other big piece, and what you'd said earlier, was the concept of lots of times people get turned off by, it's very clear there's a clear message of in your face Christianity, and a lot of people get turned off by that. But now you can watch this film with anybody of faith or not faith or any denomination, anything, and just enjoy it, and then get those ounces of, oh, okay, I get it. This is why this person, why she was a little more loving than maybe the grandfather, or, why she had grace and stuff. So I appreciate you doing that and stepping out in faith. Coming from Wisconsin, usually you hear, movie stars and movie people from all the coast, and now you're stuck in the middle and getting to getting to share your faith worldwide because of this medium.
Yes, it's amazing to me, and even though I'll say that in a lot of ways, COVID has made it difficult in the film industry, entertainment industry, and there was a lot of sort of withdrawal, shutdown that was necessary. The one really wonderful thing has been those of us who right now, if I could, I love Wisconsin, but I would also love to live in LA, but I can't right now. I'm still finishing being a mom and finishing being professor and that sort of thing. And so what I got the opportunity to do was a lot of things virtually, and that's new, and that opens up the possibility for many of us who do feel called and feel like we have stories to share and faith to contribute. It opens that door in a way that wasn't very open previously. So that's a silver lining, I guess, to what we've all been going through.
And that's beautiful, because that's where a lot of times we just need to find that silver lining in COVID or in a death of a family member or something. And what can we see? Where is God working through COVID? And like you said, He's working that somebody from a small town in Kenosha, Wisconsin, can now get on virtual roles and now can get to the Bahamas, share her faith and stuff. So it's beautiful. But I've got to ask, my daughter wanted me to ask this question, was how was it being in a movie with a dolphin that was fully trained? Clearly you can see that dolphin is, lack of a better word, sometimes smarter than us, and you'll get, once people see that in the movie, they'll understand what I just said by that. They'll clearly understand. But how was that playing with a non-human star?
Yeah, absolutely, Marty. The way you've characterized it is so true. In fact, I think a lot of directors would be jealous. They would wish that a lot of their talent would have the same sort of work ethic and ability that the dolphins do. But working with the dolphin and being around other dolphins there in the sanctuary where they live, it's not like a zoo where they're just trapped and kept in a small little contained area. They have access to a big portion of the ocean and, very natural habitat. So it is good for them. They're happy. But, the dolphins were amazing. I have so much more respect. Like I said, growing up, I loved dolphins, but to actually work with them. Let me tell you one story that was astounding to me, that illustrates their intelligence. When we would walk down to one of our filming locations on the houseboat, we needed to walk along the dock. You'll see that, and you saw it, no doubt, in the movie, the kind of long dock there that the boat is parked beside, and or docked beside. And so we would go by areas where various dolphins were swimming. And then partway through, even though, the dolphins would kind of swim around a little, look at us with cuteness and curiosity, and I would take pictures like, oh, cute, there's a dolphin over there, and that sort of thing. We had the opportunity partway through, thanks to our wonderful producer, to have a day where we swam with the dolphins in the ocean. We got to do things like, they taught us how to do certain hand signals to make them flip, to make them do sort of spirals, to talk, to nod, or shake their heads. It was just amazing because they would respond to us the same way that they would respond to their trainers. And we each were assigned a dolphin that we got to spend our time with and swim beside. And, we just had a little bonding moment. They're just adorable and so smart and sensitive. Well, from that day forward, whenever I would walk down that dock toward the boat, my quote-unquote dolphin would just speed up to the dock and would stick his head out and start, squawking at me and talking, waving his little flipper, trying to get me to come swim with him again. What? I mean, he would recognize me out of everyone just from that little time of swimming and with my friend from that day forward. So they're more human-like, or maybe we're more dolphin-like than we would give credit to normally, and it was a joy to work with them.
And once people see the movie, they'll understand exactly what you're talking about, because the dolphins were doing that in the movie and stuff. So that's a great story. So I'm done with the movie. And what are you and the cast and the ensemble, what are you hoping as a family we get out of it, the movie?
Oh, there are so many things. Of course, on one level, we really, really hope everybody just enjoys it, that they have a time to come together with family and sit and laugh and maybe cry and just have your hearts warmed, see all the beautiful scenery and the dolphins and enjoy it. Okay, that's one level. But sort of in the deep mind place, excuse me, I think all of us are hopeful that the themes that emerge from the movie will either spark conversation or at the very least just some reflection in people. Things like the tension and potential times of resolution and times that the attempted resolution doesn't work, ways that the family doesn't work and lives their way through it and finds their way through it. That's instructive, I think, to all of us who our families may look very different than this family, but we all are navigating those waters, so to speak, of assumptions or disappointments, places that we have to be really courageous. There are a number of places in the movie where people they have to make a brave choice. And sometimes those brave choices are very successful. Other times they may not lead to something that's successful, but they're making those choices and growing and learning through all of them. I do think also this idea of, I've mentioned the word several times, but legacy, for Cheryl, it's the legacy of faith that she's trying to pass on. She has a line in the movie to the effect that, don't worry, life has a way of turning out just the way it's supposed to. That doesn't mean that life has a way of always working out sunny and beautifully without, complex and difficult challenges. That's just not true, obviously. And to think that just happiness or just life working out the way that we plan that it should is the goal, is going to lead to a lot of confusion and disappointment, both in the realm of faith and the realm of just life in general. Instead, finding and trusting that there's that deeper purpose that we're created for, we're called to, and trying to trust and live into that and make adjustments where it doesn't align with precisely what we thought, should happen. That's where true faith comes in. And that's something I really think Cheryl is trying to pass on to Annabelle. And that's something that I hope people ponder a little bit after they've watched the movie. A number of things, but those are a few.
Sure. No, and I agreed with all of them. I think there's some good conversations to have. There's a good, like you said, what's family really mean to you, and how do you resolve issues within families? Because everyone has problems. I mean, and the bigger issue is how you're going to resolve them. So I agree. I love it. I love Dolphin Island. It's a great movie, but it sounds like you're doing a lot of things. Do you have something next that you can kind of tell us about, or are there things on the pipeline that we should pray about? Or
I will always take prayer, Marty. Seriously, if anybody would like to pray, the character of Esther in the Bible, and not to be overly dramatic or align myself precisely with her, but I feel like God has opened up some doors, not just so that I can have fun, not that God doesn't want us to have fun, I know he wants to bless us, but open up some doors so that some of his truth, some of his perspective can be brought into places, some of his light can be brought into some places where there might not be as much light as is needed. And so I will always take prayer to be faithful and to speak boldly, but with grace in the various situations that God has opened up. As I mentioned, since a lot of things shut down, a lot of filmmaking in particular was just not possible because you have to have too many people together in one area to shoot a film for a lot of the COVID restrictions that have been in place. I was able to do a documentary in December, which is coming out about the life of Russell Brunson. You can look him up if you're interested. I've also been able to do some things like commercials that require fewer people in the room. But now, just recently, even the last month, a lot of feature film auditions have come open, and I've gotten a number of callbacks. I can't say right now, well, yes, I'm doing this project, but I sure have high hopes for maybe come back in a few weeks, then I can give you more precise direction.
Of course, or what will happen is I will be interviewing you in a year, and because you're in some good family-based movie again, and I'll be interviewing you again. So who's to say that, and God is good. So we will, my station will be praying for you and to keep the light going and the faith, and appreciate you taking the time.
This is Marty from the Marty and Katina Show. Katina, tell us what BRITE stands for.
It means bringing right inspiration to everyone.
BRITE. BRITE.
BRITE Radio would like to take this time to thank you, our listening family. Your generous support of programming on BRITE Radio makes the Marty and Katina Show a possibility. To make your tax-deductible contribution to BRITE Radio, visit our donations page at briteradio.org.